So, hi again, I'm Steph. I'm the XD evangelist based in the UK, in London, and I'm here today to talk about XD. And I know not all of you are designers, so I put together a presentation to show you what more you can do in XD. So this entire presentation, for example, is done in XD, so if you want to do fancy presentations and do your own animations, XD is really a must, in my opinion. Officially, Adobe XD is a design tool, vector-based. It interacts or it works together very well with Photoshop and Illustrator. It's a prototype tool. You can even create interactive voice prototypes thanks to Amazon's integrated Alexa. And it's a collaboration tool where you can share files, cloud documents with your colleagues and coworkers, where you can share like a link with your customers, for example, and with the developers that even get CSS snippets, but I'll show more later. Our teams are based across the globe who develop XD, so we have a team in San Francisco, Seattle, New York, and on the other half of the world in Bucharest and in Bangalore. So officially, XD is a wireframing tool as well as a visual design tool. This, for example, is a wireframe. You recognize it because it's a grayscale just set, and wireframes usually focus on the functionality of an app. It helps to really stay focused and only develop whether the functionality is right or not. And afterwards, you can jump into visual design, such as this one, for example, which is a booking experience. So you can very easily, thanks to the mechanism and the automated mechanism that's in XD, just easily transform it over into an interactive visual design prototype, such as this one. You also have the option, some of you might know, we always start with mobile first, and then we have to design for a tablet and then for a desktop, and it takes a lot of time. But in XD, we have integrated responsive resize, so you just need to switch on a toggle and resize it up, and it constrains a lot of the proportions. So I would say like 80–90%, so you don't have much work left. But let's talk about what else can you do with Adobe XD. So photography, as I said before, it's compatible with PSD, so you can open your PSD files in Adobe XD. You can also open your illustrations, in your Illustrator files in XD, or copy and paste illustrations across from Illustrator to XD or back from XD to Illustrator, and they all are vector artworks. Then you can create a presentation, such as this one, for example, or plugins. If you're into coding and you know JavaScript, you can code a plugin. If you don't, you can just use the plugins that the others have coded, because a lot of them really automate your process very nice. So this is an example when you are on holiday and you don't have internet, like I did in the Seychelles, and I was observing crabs, and I had on my phone the Lightroom application. I just put that together, and then I opened a Photoshop file in XD and created this e-cards and sent it to my team. This, for example, is an illustration that I did that I just animated, and I would like to show you. When I go out of this presentation, this is simply done by just 2 artboards right here. So you can see this is the play artboard, and this is artboard 1 where the foot is down, and this is artboard 2 where the foot is up. So if I change to prototype mode, you can see these 2 are just put in a loop with auto animate, and that's what it does when it plays. So you can really like create interactive animations or interactions with your animations. Then you can also morph fonts, such as this one that I did for the Dutch Design Week. So you can just convert every kind of font into a path, and then just make sure that you label the layers correctly. And when I labeled them all letters, so even though it was a D, it was letter. If it was U, it was a letter. So that were the names. And then XD thinks, because it's called letter here and letter there, it thinks it's the same thing, and then it auto-animates the 2 together. So that's what you can do very quickly. Then another cool thing that I love is share for review and share for development. So let's say I have created this presentation, I want to share it with my boss, so he gives me feedback. And I can just generate this web link over here, and over there my boss could write a comment, or someone else. You can share this link with whoever you want. They could even pin something on here. Oh, this is not New York, this is, I don't know, Michigan or whatever, something like that. You can also, this is what I said earlier, when you share it with developers, they get CSS snippets like this one, so they can copy and paste it, but they can also download an icon such as this one, for example, so you don't have to export it anymore. They can all do it from there. So basically that means for you, that's the end of creating design guidelines, because this automatically does the design guidelines for you. We have around 150 plugins. Some of them are really great, and I want to show a few examples, and you can code many more. If you don't want to make them official in Adobe, or so everyone can use it, you can also just create your own and just load it into XD and just use it by yourself. So you don't have to make your plugin official if you don't want to. So for example, this plugin is pretty cool. How did I get from here to there? It was very quick. If I zoom out, I can quickly show you on here. This is the plugins panel, and here is the plugin called Calendar. And I just choose like whatever month I want to have. So we have now October, November. I can also go backwards. So this was August, for example. I can say make a calendar, and it just generates it for me here. And all I have to do once this is placed is I have to style it so it looks good in my design. But I don't have to like dig out a calendar and type everything down manually anymore. Then the World Ready plugin, another one that I really love because I have had to design very often like multilingual, and there are a lot of languages that I don't know, and this one, for example, was a chatbot that I have designed, and it was in English, and then it got translated into Swedish and Finnish, which I don't know. And there's a plugin, I wish it would have been there at the time, and it wasn't, because you usually get the translations very towards the end of the project, and then it just like blows up your whole project because it like the words just don't fit, and special characters don't look good anymore, and so on. So this plugin here, it's done internally by an Adobe team. So let's say I also don't understand Dutch, so I want to translate it to Dutch and see how this would look like. And you can also like select which translator you want, Google Translate, Microsoft Translate, or just a default one, and hit translate. And then it just generates a new artboard next to it. It even labels it as Dutch. And then you can see, for example, here that my text doesn't quite fit in here, so I need to change some of my styles for another language. Then another plugin that I really find so important, especially in our times, is the Stark plugin. So 4.5% of the world population is colorblind, and they can't access certain things because we designers don't know how it looks for them, and we don't like make the right choices when it comes to colors. So the Stark plugin helps with that. So if you just run it, for example, with this simulation, I can just go to Stark, colorblind simulation, and then this is my artboard, and there are even different types of color blindness, which I wasn't aware before either. And then you can just click on any of them, and it runs and it shows how it looks for someone with this specific condition. So a lot of the text, as you can see, is disappearing. Or let's try another one here as well, and they just won't be able to read it anymore. There's another one, and you can see how the fonts are just disappearing. And so this really helps to double check whether your design is accessible for everyone nowadays. And then one last one, and a very powerful one, is the Google Sheets plugin. So some of you might have also had to design a lot of time slots and like booking applications. And here, for example, I have time slots from midnight in half-an-hour slots until midnight again. So this looks like a brutal exercise to do, doesn't it? But it's very easy. I only had to create this table here. So if I change to the layers panel, you can see here are the time slots. It consists of a text and a rectangle. That's pretty much it. And then I just select this group and hit repeat grid. I drag it out and I drag it down. So this is what my grid does already. I changed the gaps in between. So I've got them all here, so that looks almost like it, except for the time slots. So I have created these time slots for you already. If you want to use them, they're on my Behance. This is my Behance. My handle is always Stephanie _4 XD. And over here, I have the Google Sheets plugin with the link, and that's a Google Sheet link. So you can see that I have created 10 minutes time slots within 24 hours, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and 120 minutes. So you can either like select the column and copy and paste it into your own Google Sheet or use this one. I also did different tabs down here, so you can grab it from there, whatever you prefer. And all you need to do is you select the share link and say copy. You go back into XD, have the repeat grid selected, and go into plugin, Google Sheets, paste public link, and just paste that link, hit continue, and I select the 30 minutes one, and I hit apply, and you can see that it just applied everything from midnight all the way through until midnight again. And that was pretty much it, and all I had to do afterwards was obviously a bit of styling, but you know, that's a quick thing to do. So going back to this presentation, if you have a Creative Cloud subscription, XD is part of your Creative Cloud subscription. If you don't, you can download XD for free and just try it out. So you don't need to subscribe. It's also not a 30-day test trial or anything like that. You will have it forever. The only difference is that when you create the share links, you can only create one, but the whole interface of the program is exactly the same. So just feel free to try it out. And yeah, now ask me anything.